have a happy holiday season. Have another happy winter break coming up in a week. I know a lot of the staff members and I are excited for our winter break, and the students are coming up. It's been a busy few months in the beginning. And at this time, I'd like to introduce again our instructor for the music and director of our Vocal Music Academy, Mr. Douglas Schmidt.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, you know, if you've been coming to these for a couple of years, I hate speaking at the concerts. So we make this cool program so that I don't have to speak too much. But I do want to say a couple things before we start. First of all, if you know what I'm talking about here, thank you for allowing me to change the date of this concert. I appreciate that. So that helped me out a lot. And so the jazz band is dying to get started because they're telling me that it's after 7 and it's time to start. So we're going to get started. This is the jazz text, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of them when we get going. And this first tune is called Nutcracker Swing. Okay, we had soloists in that song, Ryan Blackman on trombone, Logan on alto saxophone, and Paul Wingate on trumpet. Soloists. Okay, perfect, here we go. Okay, our next tune is called Baby It's Cold Outside. you. Before we finish up with the jazz band, there are some things I should tell you about this crew here. One of the things we're very proud of here, and I'm sure if you have a child in this program, we're very proud of the fact that almost as soon as they get here, we start having them double, picking up new instruments over and over and over. So by the time they're getting older, they're playing 5 different instruments and 6 different instruments. And so sometimes, we'll have a hole in the jazz band, and I'll say, hey, we need a tenor saxophone. We don't have a tenor saxophone. Can you jump in on tenor saxophone? And they'll say, sure, I don't play tenor saxophone, but I'll jump in on tenor saxophone. That's the way these kids are. So let me tell you about this group here. Okay, so London here is a flute player. She's a flute major. She also plays alto saxophone and picked up the tenor saxophone 4 months ago. And so there we are. And Lily's our bass clarinetist. She's bass clarinet major, and she's playing alto saxophone for us. Picked that up 4 months ago. Picked it up this year in September. Very good. As a matter of fact, only one of these guys is a saxophone player. So Micaiah is a clarinet player who plays saxophone in the jazz band. Lauren is a clarinet player and also plays, I can't even list how many things you play. So she's our baritone saxophone player. The trombone section here, none of them are trombone players. I mean, they are, but they're not trombone majors. So we have Jania's a French horn. She's actually a French horn for us, but she came in as a violin major. Ryan is a violin major, who also is getting really good at the clarinet and the trombone. And Jared is a percussionist, who now plays trombone also. We have 2 gentlemen in the back row who are not even in the music academy. And they come out. They're not in concert black, so you gotta love this suit. This is TJ, and he's pre-engineering major here in the career area, and Liam is in medical arts. Medical arts. And I'm going to tell you a whole bunch. This is Eric. He's a tenor saxophone major who played tenor saxophone in the jazz band last year. Picked up the piano this year for jazz band. Very nice job. Very good. And there's a whole bunch of other things I'm going to tell you about these kids later on. But let's finish up the jazz band, and this is called Big Band Holiday. Okay, soloists in that song were Jared Griffith on trombone, Logan Clark on alto saxophone. Okay, we're going to have a little change here. This might take a minute or two. We're going to bring in the handbell choirs, and bear with us, and we'll be set in a couple minutes. Okay, so while they're setting up for handbells, let me tell you a little bit about handbells. This is our handbell choir. Actually, we have 3 different handbell choirs going on this year. So you'll see a bunch of students subbing in and out as the choirs change. Handbells, I think, makes you nervous a little bit. Makes me nervous. The nature of handbells is this. So the jazz band that you just saw, all the students have a piece of music in front of them, and it's got a bunch of notes on it, and their job is to play every note on the page. It's all the notes are theirs, and that's pretty easy to do. The problem with handbells is now they have a piece of music in front of them, but their job is only to play one pitch in that song. So, for example, one student will have the pitch A, and they play nothing except that A when it comes by. And it has to be laid exactly perfectly in rhythm along with everybody else who's playing one pitch, and together they make a song. And it's very difficult, and it takes incredible focus. So I think this is becoming our marquee group. I'm hard-pressed to even think of another high school that has a handbell choir. I can't, I don't know. Maybe there is one, but I don't know who it is. So I'm very proud of them. This is the hardest thing we do all year, the holiday handbell concert. So without further ado, we have "O Come All Ye Faithful." Thank you. So I should have mentioned, sometimes the best way to watch a handbell choir is to just pick one person and just watch what they do the whole time. It's very difficult, so they're doing a great job. Now the second handbell choir is getting set up. And they're gonna give you a rendition of Ding Dong Merrily on High. Okay, I can tell you they're not saying it, but they are relieved that that one's over. Because I can say this now, not beforehand. That was the toughest piece we did all night. So that was very intricate, a lot of voices coming in and out. So yes, we're very happy that one's over. Also, some things to look at while you're watching what they're doing. Not only do they have to play their note at the right time, but the note's only supposed to last a certain amount of time. And if their note lasts, if they let their note last too long, that note runs into somebody else's note and it doesn't sound right. So not only are they playing the note when they're supposed to, but it's called damping their note. That means they're stopping their note on time too. So they're playing both sides of the note. They're starting it when they're supposed to, and they're damping it. They're stopping the note when they're supposed to. complicated. And there they are. So this is the first group you saw tonight, and this is up on the housetop. Thank you. So they're going to switch every song. Different choir comes in. It's kind of a glorious sound, isn't it? It's just beautiful. You can't beat it. Some of what you saw in that song is a technique called table damping, where they're ringing the bell directly into the table. The tables are covered with foam, by the way, so it's not a hard surface. And then there's a drape over it, so they damp it right into the table, and that's that thunk, thunk, thunk that you hear. So that's another technique on handbells. We stress a lot here that despite what people might think, fast songs are not the hardest. The hardest songs to play are the slow songs. So this is Silent Night. So while they're setting up, I know I'm repeating myself, but the pressure to play in one of these groups is just incredible. Like, imagine starting the song and you have the wrong bell in your hand. There's a lot of pressure. So sometimes when the kids are out sick, I have to sub in because, if you're playing a song and there's a melody going on and there's a note missing, it jars everyone and it messes everybody up. So if one of them is absent, I can sub in. And let me tell you, I am nervous playing with them because they're just so precise. And it's always me who's making the mistake. Yes? It's always me. So thankfully, they are all healthy enough to be here tonight. And I don't have to sub in for them, which I did last year. I had to last year. All right, so this is the upperclassmen only. And they're going to be starting their portion of this concert with Angels We Have Heard on High. Okay, I'm going to sub in. Don't watch me, watch somebody else. We all set? Okay. Here we go. Not too fast, yes? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. That's enough to give you a heart attack. Okay. Skip that song for now. See if he comes back. Okay, flip over. Okay. Okay, this will be the first Noel. All right, you all set? Okay. Nice and slow here. Here we go. Ready, 1, 2. 1, 2. we're gonna jump over to Jingle Bells, and this will be the last tune that the Hamlet Choir plays, Jingle Bells. Okay, glad that's over. I'm telling you, playing with your kids is nerve-wracking. They are so good. Okay, so now we're gonna have a change, and the concert band is gonna come on. They're gonna go off and pick up another set of instruments, and they will be right back. Excuse me. Okay, so this is the CCTS Music Academy Concert Band, and if you're keeping track of what the kids are doing, some of these kids are now playing their third different instrument tonight. A couple things that I was asked to mention, that they did the lighting of the stands and their instruments on their own, so it's very festive. Yes. It's complicated because if you're going to wrap your instrument in Christmas lights, you have to make sure it doesn't interfere with the mechanism of the instrument. So they did a nice job because everything's working pretty well. Okay, so I usually do this at the very end, but I want to talk about a couple of these kids now so that you can then think about that while they're playing. Okay, so last Saturday, 5 of these young people went down to Absecon High School and they auditioned for Region 3 Honor Band, and what we call Region 3 is all South Jersey Honor Band. So they went down, they had to prepare a big long solo, all their scales, they had to sight read some pretty hard stuff. Sight reading means you're playing something that you've never seen in your life before. 5 auditioned, all 5 of them were accepted. And I want to tell you that. Okay, so first of all, there's an orchestra, and the orchestra has strings in it, and also winds and percussion. And then there are 2 bands, and they have bands like this. There are no strings. So all 5 of these young people qualified for the orchestra, which is the top group. Okay, so all 5. Carlos Sakard Archambault on oboe. Can you stand up so everybody can see who you are? Stand up on oboe. And I'm just going to go around as soon as I find you. Rihanna Blackman. Stay standing. Rihanna finished in all of South Jersey 8th in a field of 68 violins. 8th. And now she's playing trombone, and that's not even her major instrument. Janiyah Walton on violin. She's also going to be in the first violin section, and she plays French horn for us, along with a couple other things. Thank you. And where am I? Paul Wingate on trumpet. Paul finished 3rd out of 47 in South Jersey. And Jared Griffith, our percussionist. We just played a pretty mean trombone solo in jazz band, if you remember. Jared auditioned on 3 different instruments and was accepted on all 3. He finished 4th. Now this is in all of South Jersey. He finished 4th overall in battery percussion. And that is snare drum, bass drum, all the traps, that kind of percussion. 4th overall. He also auditioned on mallets, which is the xylophone, the marimba, finished 3rd overall in South Jersey. And right now he's sitting behind the timpani, and he auditioned on timpani also, and finished 1st in South Jersey. So all of these folks made the orchestra, and then there's a wind ensemble, and there's a symphonic band. So some of these guys made more than one group. So the wind ensemble, Paul, wind ensemble, Paul Wingate. Jared on wind ensemble. Oh, by the way, when you make it on 3 different instruments, you have to choose one, because he can't play all of them at the same time. So he chose battery percussion. Very proud of him. Yeah. Okay. Carlos on oboe, made symphonic band. I think that's it. And then just today, and all this is in your program, but just today, we learned that they also seat chamber ensembles at South Jersey, and that's things like flute choir and clarinet ensemble and brass quintet. Percussion ensemble. And we just found out, and then these are, you only get into these if you are in the top, because they pick off the top kids off the list, and they put them in these chamber groups. And we found out today that Paul Wingate made the brass quintet on trumpet. So we're incredibly proud of these guys, and that's not the end of it, because what's the next step? When? January? When do we go to All-State? The next step after All South Jersey is now all the kids that make All South Jersey, All Central Jersey, or All North Jersey band. Only those kids can then audition for All-State band. And so that's what's next. So these guys are all going to audition for All-State. That will be in January. Okay, so let's get started. And this piece that we're going to start with is called "And the Herald Angels Sang." so the story with Christmas Festival is, very often there will be, of a famous piece like this is, there will be the real version, which you will hear professional groups play, and there'll be a high school version, which is made easier for the high school groups. Well, we had a choice because we have them both, and of course, they didn't want to play the high school version. So they chose the professional version of A Christmas Festival by Leroy Anderson. Okay, we're not sure where Bobsled Run fits in, but it's wintry. It's not really a Christmas carol, but it's really fun to play. And so this is Bobsled Run. All right, we're going to finish out our concert with another tune that has a professional version and a high school version, and guess which one they picked. So this one's particularly nasty inside. It's got all kinds of hard notes in it, uses a bunch of buttons that they usually don't use. So it's very complicated. It's probably the most recognized instrumental holiday tune ever written. It's called Sleigh Ride. And thank you for coming tonight. We're taking a donation for the suffering in Ukraine. So if you could find it in your heart to leave a donation in the box to help out the Ukrainians, we will get that sent over pretty soon now. And thank you for coming. Have a safe trip home. And we look forward to seeing you in the spring. Okay, thank you again for coming. I hope you enjoyed the concert, and have a great holiday season. Thank you.
Hey, I think you hit those notes. That third piece of pizza. Where are your numbers? Good job.
Like what happened?